Hi everyone, this is Professor Benjamin, and this video is a midterm exam review kind of warm-up. And so you have one chance between Saturday, July 27th at 11:59 through August, and I think it's August 4th. Let me just check the date real quick so that I make sure. So you get one chance, yes. And the midterm exam portal can be found under climate change. So it's right here. So you get one chance between July 27th, 11:59 and August 4th, 11:59. That means that once you start the exam, you can't stop it and then come back to it. So once you start it, you have to complete the exam. So find a 3-hour window where you have access to the internet and a computer, and you should be okay. A couple things. Number one, a lot of students really do not succeed taking the midterm exam using their cell phones. So it's really essential that you're at some sort of home PC or laptop, etc. Make sure you're using the correct web browser. So Chrome or Firefox, of course, are the best web browsers to use for this. If you use Internet Explorer, you will have trouble uploading, and sometimes it freezes and I can't do anything to help you. So one chance, 3 hours to take it. Make sure you're using the right web browser. Make sure you're using the right sort of electronic device. And make sure you don't have tons of web browsers open. So you're not searching for answers in web browsers, because a lot of times what happens is someone accidentally X's out, or if they have too many web browsers open, sometimes their computer slows, so then what happens is it's really hard to submit. So there are some complications. All of them are remedied by the fact that you just follow those instructions and you should be fine. I do not give any extra time on midterm exams or final exams. I do not give any extension. So if your computer freezes, that's it. That is it. I can't help you with that, okay? Unless I contact Canvas and there's an issue with Canvas, then usually it's someone's computer, and I can't individualize 36 midterm exams for each person's home computer. So how do you prepare for the midterm exam? Well, right here is under the sustainability session is the midterm exam review sheet. This is actually the midterm exam right here. I don't change any of the questions. I do not fiddle with anything. These are the questions that you'll find on the midterm exam. So you can prepare before the midterm exam, meaning that the midterm exam can really technically only have to take you 5 minutes, where you just copy and paste your answers into the exam portal, and that's it. So technically what I tell students is really the midterm exam is well before the midterm. It's in your preparation for the midterm exam. So here's just some of those instructions I just said to you, and here are the questions that are in the midterm exam. So they have to be at least one full paragraph in length. So that means if you just give me one sentence or two sentences, then I take half off, because 4 sentences is what we consider a legit paragraph. So at least a full paragraph in length, even though some of the questions you might feel do not warrant a full paragraph, you need to figure out a way to make it a full paragraph. Sourcing. So some students have reached out to me and asked me, do you need sources? I can have rough sources, that's fine. Textbook, Chapter 2, or Food Inc., or something like that. You don't have to do in-text citations or anything like that. I also want all of the answers in your own words. So I would prefer not to have quotes or anything like that. I would really like for everyone to kind of put everything in your own words so that I know that you understand the material. Okay? Because sometimes when we just copy or paraphrase, we're just copy or paraphrasing someone else's thoughts. We don't really understand what we're even typing, but we just do that. And so that's what I would prefer. So session 1 is here. What are the main reasons for uncertainty in our understanding of the environment, and how does the scientific method help us remove uncertainty from science? So the entire answer needs to be a full paragraph, not each question in it, just the entire answer. And I write here where you can find the answer. So the answer can be found in the textbook under session 1. So if you go to session 1 in the modules and you say, oh, we cover chapter 1, the introduction session in chapter 1, in session 1, oh, this should relate to the textbook chapter 1. So both of these questions relate to the textbook chapter 1. And so I try try and give you exactly where to find the information. You need to now just do the research and come up with the answer. Session 2 is here. A lot of these answers come from the Tragedy Commons article, so it's absolutely essential you go back and read that article. I know it's a tough article, but it's really important that you do that. Why are invasive species considered a Tragedy Commons? This can be found in the PowerPoint and in, of course, look at the Tragedy Commons PowerPoint. So this is really where the answer stems from. So make sure that you look at the PowerPoint that deals with Session 2. Session 3, explain how our current views of the environment have been formed. Be sure to include why religion plays a role in your answer. Remember, monotheistic religions have helped create a detachment to us in nature because we put man over nature, because we say man created nature. Whenever we say something created something, you have dominion over it. So that becomes a detachment. Whether you think we do or don't, that is exactly what monotheistic religions do. While the Bible does say, or some other religious texts say, that we're stewards of the environment, that does not mean that nature has its entity and right on its own. It means when we steward something, right, we are in charge of it and we are in charge of monitoring it. So that has created detachment, meaning that I'm in charge of nature. I can do whatever I want with it, manipulate it, etc., because we know what's right. So make sure you include that in your answer. Can we put a monetary value on a clean forest? Yes, we can. We can, it's just not accurate. So that's really important for you to look up the answers to that, because we can, it's just not accurate. You're going to want to use Pricing the Priceless and the textbook, because the textbook has some information on it. Also, go back and look at some of my roundups. I've given you some of the answers in the roundups, or what I'm looking for in the answer in some of the past roundups. So go back and look at them or listen to them, etc. Preservation, what's the difference? And then tell me about hetch-hetchy. And I write in here, protecting buildings. If you look on the internet, you're going to get the wrong answer. That's the other thing. I want you to use sources I've given you. I don't want you to go out on the internet and just look up answers. I'll tell you where that's okay. For example, right here, you can use an outside source only for information about hetch-hetchy. So I tell you exactly where to find the information. You need to use those tools to come up with the answer. You can't just go to some outside source and find the answers. That's just not how the midterm exam works. Why can we not live on a linear system in a finite world? I gave you this answer in one of the roundups, so make sure you go read that. And the answer cannot be we run into limitations, so make sure you do that. What is fair trade? Why is fair trade coming under criticism? So a lot of this can be found under that sustainability module, so you want to look at that. And then session 6, this question is dealing directly with the film Food Incorporated. A lot of you, I could tell from your forum post, watched a YouTube clip and did not watch the entire film. I want examples from the film that Joel specifically gives as to why we're willing to subsidize our food system to create the mystique of cheap food. I want you to delve deep into what he says we do to produce the mystique that it's cheap food, but in reality it costs more. And he talks about it in detail throughout the entire film. So you need to make sure that you are understanding why it looks like it's cheap, but yet it is actually really expensive for us to produce this cheap, crappy food that we have. And I want you to explain why. So you're going to have to watch the film in some shape or form to develop that answer. That answer has to be at least 300 words in length. And so I think it's really important that you, actually 200 words in length, I apologize. So it has to be at least 200 words in length. So make sure that you somehow get your hands on the film over this week. So besides the film, you also have your regular work due in this class. So you have forum posts due and quizzes due. So you have a lot due this week. So I really suggest that you start preparing for the midterm exam, get something off your plate, or make all your forum posts and take your quizzes early in the week, and then you have some additional time to work things out towards the end of the week. As always, please reach out if you have any questions. I would rather you address me sooner than later with questions on your midterm exam. Thanks, and I look forward to a successful midterm exam.